We got a State of the Union this morning from Steve Cohen and a couple pieces of audio I will play for you. First and foremost, on his feeling on the 2026 Mets as they begin spring training.
You know, I feel like there's a different energy here this year than last year. I don't know what it is. It just feels really optimistic. A lot of new faces. And so I'm kind of, I'm really excited by this team. I'm excited by the energy I see, and we'll see what happens.
Why would there be more energy this year than last year when last year they were coming off not only a trip to the NLCS, but the addition of Juan Soto? I find that odd.
Well, it's a new nucleus.
No, I totally get that.
A lot of new faces coming in to meet each other.
It's a new team, no doubt. You could argue.
I can see that a little bit.
But you're coming off like a year ago he's referring to was a year in which I thought coming into the year, there was as much optimism as maybe we had in a long time as a Met fan when you combine the success of the previous season and then the addition of Soto and keeping Pete Alonso. I'm surprised that that's the vibe he gets. I'm not saying it's wrong. I have no idea. I'm just telling you,
let me bring it into this place. I thought we were all doing well. All our shows were doing well, and we started a new lineup January 1st, right? Mm-hmm. The whole newsroom felt like it changed. Everything changed. You didn't feel like, and it doesn't mean the other was a bad situation, like there was a new energy on January 1st when we walked in this building?
There was definitely a new energy.
Well, I think that's all he's saying. But things have changed up.
I don't know if it was new energy.
It felt different.
There was less people here for sure.
Well, that's a new energy.
There was less people, and Tiki and I were excited we could go home at a reasonable time.
That's right.
I think it pretty much stops there.
That's new energy.
Okay.
All right. Now, Steve Cohen, we all feel this as fans. You know, obviously me with the Mets, of course, too. The lack of winning a World Series. Is Steve Cohen as bothered by it as Met fans are? He let us know.
I'm annoyed. I'm absolutely annoyed. You know, every year it goes by, I get frustrated, and I'm really committed to this team, and I know how much the fans care. I know we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of 1986, and that's just too long. And there's a lot of great teams out there. No matter what you do, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to win the World Series. But I just want to put myself in position every year in the playoffs where we have a chance with a really good team.
Well said. I can't argue with a damn thing he said. The goal is obviously to win a World Series, but at the bare minimum, if you're a playoff team every year, like the Yankees have been, even though they haven't won anything since 2009, you give yourself a real chance. And I actually believe his frustration. I don't think it's one of those fake owner frustrations. He wants to win, and it's been a challenge. And his ownership in terms of wins and losses has been a very mixed bag.
All right.
Okay.
You bitch.
We lost Pete Alonso. We lost Edwin Díaz, which was the talking point this weekend. How does it feel losing all these long-tenured players, Mr. Cohen?
And you develop these relationships, and I felt what the fans felt, right? I mean, and the worst part was these players left, and yet we hadn't signed or figured out who was going to fill those positions. And I describe it as even I was feeling anxiety, right? Like, how are we going to get there? But David kept cautioning me and telling me that, stay patient. That it's a long off season. I think, the off season doesn't end December. It ends, even past, today, right? I mean, potentially, right, for teams. And we stayed patient and disciplined, and I feel really good about what we accomplished.
Here's the only thing I don't want to hear. Don't tell me you feel what fans feel, because unlike us, we had no power in this.
Yeah.
You could have re-signed Pete Alonso. You could have been more aggressive in keeping Edwin Díaz.
But didn't they likely make an organizational decision?
Yes.
And so they moved past it quickly.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe they went through that process that the fan went through a month and a half ago. They went through it 4 months ago.
No, I get you, but he still had the power to change the decisions that he's saying he understands how fans feel. I mean, you really don't. And right now it's Steve Cohen, who I think is overall, if I'm grading his ownership here, I think he's been a wonderful owner. He's certainly invested in the team, which I appreciate. But here are the facts that no one can dispute, even if you want to argue with me about it. Under his watch, Jacob deGrom walked out that door. Under his watch, Pete Alonso walked out that door. That's a lot.
Yeah.
For a 5-year sample size which Edwin Díaz, too. I wasn't even going to include him, but fine. They walked out the door. Now, you can sit here and argue with me and say, here's why it was the right decision, blah, 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 blah. Look, it was the right decision to let Darryl Strawberry go. No one admits it. No one sits here and says to Joe, yeah, you complain about it, but wasn't it the right decision? Look what ended up happening. It still happened under his watch. So when you tell me I feel your pain, no, you don't. So I'm not mad at him. Just
I think
stating the fact.
feel your pain is something that you just say to make you feel empathetic towards the fan.
Mhm.
He doesn't really mean it. He's just saying, I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Not I feel your pain, because he doesn't.
Gotcha.
He's listening to you.
Okay, we have two more left to play here. The next one is about, is there a floor to your expectations on the 2026 New York Mets?
Steve, you talked about how badly you want to win. Obviously, only one team can win every year.
Yeah.
Given that context, I mean, what would a successful season look like to you? What does this team have to achieve for it to be considered a success?
Yeah, listen, I think table stakes is making playoffs. Got to make the playoffs, right? I mean, I missed the playoffs last year, missing 2 years in a row. That's not good. And then obviously you want to go deep. And you can't. These are short series. You can't control what goes on in these short series. Anything can happen. But I think the idea is keep putting yourself in that position, year in, year out, which we haven't done, right? It's been off and on, and so we got to do better. And those are the goals that I'm seeking.
He's spot on.
Yeah.
He's spot on. And this is where I know Yankee fans get very upset with Brian Cashman when he says, hey, it's luck. You get to the playoffs, it's a crapshoot. Steve Cohen is also saying that, but he's also acknowledging we're not even in the crapshoot every year, and that needs to change.
Right.
You have to, it's like to win the New York State lottery, you have to buy a lottery ticket. The Mets every other year don't even buy a lottery ticket. You got to be in the tournament to have a shot. And so I agree with his assessment. The bare minimum expectation is being a playoff team. That's what they have to do.
Powerhouse New York Mets.
And if they don't, it's a massive disappointment.
Was that Bush?
Let me play that again. Let's see who that was.
The Powerhouse New York Mets.
Come on. Bush. Who was that?
The Powerhouse New York Mets.
It's President's Day.
The Powerhouse New York Mets.
Oh, that's Reagan.
There you go.
The Powerhouse New York
I
Mets.
was like, wait, I know this voice. I can't place it.
Yeah, there you go. That's Ronald Reagan, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
Okay, now last but not least, you ready?
He was
That was 40
he,
years ago, by the way.
he was president, Sean.
I got it. He was an actor, too.
Yeah. How many terms?
Reagan was only a one-term president.
Oh, my God.
I had a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, a 50-50. You think he was a one-term president?
Dude, what do you want me to tell you? Like,
That
I
he
don't
was a
know.
two-term president.
All right, so I guessed wrong. I could tell you the anatomy of a chicken cutlet. You come to me for that.
I'm
All
trying
right.
to think. There hasn't been a one-term president
The
other-
original
other
Bush.
than Bush.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you count Trump? It's one, it's
He's a
two.
two-term
Yeah,
president.
no, you're right. I just, the separate terms, it's like the way I think of
Oh.
Grover Cleveland. I don't know. It's like two separate one terms, but you're right. I'm not going to argue it.
Then Joe Biden.
Joe Biden, very good.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's true. How'd you forget Joe Biden?
I don't know.
You know
Hey,
why
only
you
click
forgot?
for me.
Because he's forgettable.
Because he chose not to run. That's why you forgot about him. It's like there's a distinction on this President's Day.
Yeah, at the last minute.
Right, because, well, he knew he couldn't win, but whatever.
Right.
At the end of the day, he didn't run, whether it's for whatever reason. There's a distinction between the guy who's a one-term president and lost,
Right.
and the guy who's a one-term president and said, I'm good. There is, I'm telling you.
Is there?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Not
Absolutely.
in history, just in your memory right now.
Yeah,
All right.
the history goes back so far. I don't think you remember a lot of this stuff.
Oh, clearly.
Because we've had a run of two-term presidents. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
But when you think of Jimmy Carter, unfortunately, you say, hey, he's a loser. He
Right.
lost to Reagan.
Right.
I mean, it sucks, but that's
Is that
just the
right?
reality.
That's who he lost to?
The peanut farmer lost to the actor.
Wow. Okay.
Go ahead.
Where were we?
last clip
the
of
last
Steve
clip.
Cohen.
All right. I guess speaking of presidents on this President's Day, the president of a team could be the captain. Steve Cohen, we expected that Lindor announcement. Where's our Mets team captain?
Is there any movement to name a team captain, or is that something you don't think is necessary?
As long as I'm owning the team, there will never be a team captain.
Really?
Okay, that was my decision.
Whoa.
My view is the locker room is unique, and let the locker room sort it out year in, year out. And so,
So you're not saying that there'll never be one? But
no, there'll never be a captain.
there'll never be a captain.
There'll never be a captain.
When did you make that decision?
I've felt that way all along.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, so were we given a bill of goods last year?
Well, what bill did we get? Like, we assumed and asked lots of questions
because
about
there were-
Lindor being
There
captain?
were reports that he was going to be named captain.
There were, but where did they come from?
I don't know. I don't
Clearly not from
remember.
him.
It wasn't from him. And I don't think he ever commented on it in real time. But we do remember that being a thing last year.
That was a thing, yes.
And so it's not like it came out of nowhere. I think maybe him keeping things in-house, so to speak, he realized after floating that, or after it was floated out there, the backlash that it received, mainly from guys who are no longer on the New York Mets.
Brandon Nimmo.
And Jeff McNeil created a situation where he just doesn't want to broach it again because it's not important. It's important for one team, the New York Yankees.
Yeah.
It's not important for any other team in Major League Baseball.
It's not important, and I thought it was an overblown story. That is an interesting comment.
I agreed.
I mean,
The fact that the way he said it
He
makes
was
it interesting.
adamant.
Otherwise, it would have been like, all right, whatever, just ask and answer. Next question.
Well, you know what? Here's what we'll do. I want to get to your calls, but coming up at 11 o'clock, I listened to everything Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor had to say over the weekend.
Soto.
I'll play you some of what they said, and maybe, just maybe, by listening to Soto and Lindor, you'll actually kind of figure it out. That's all I'm saying. So set your clock. In about 20 minutes, we'll get to that. But let's get to your calls for everybody that's waited. We appreciate it. 888-808-1019. Kendrick in Suffern. Good to talk to you, Kendrick.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, guys?
I love these non-school days. You can call us.
Hey, you and me both, man. You and me both. I did want to talk NBA stuff, but after listening to Cohen, if you don't mind, I'll shift gears and bring up a point there. So real quick, I enjoyed the All-Star Game weekend with my kid, and I just thought it was interesting with all the fake fans and paid actors that the Knicks had, that Rick Brunson had to pass the ball in that skills challenge. I was expecting Tommy Lugauer to walk out and pass the ball. But I'll transition here really quick to the Mets vibes and the no captain point there. With the vibes, Evan, I said this last year to you guys when I called in more frequently, which was, since Stearns got here, I don't think the players felt comfortable. And honestly, I don't even think the coaching staff felt comfortable because they were never Stearns guys. So I think when you finally have guys that were brought in and feel like they're wanted, I do think that could probably change the tone in spring training as well. And then the other thing with the captain, listen, since Cohen got here, he's never been a commitment guy. Like you said, he let some of the top Mets players walk. And I think when you name a captain, if you think the Alonso drama was bad, could you imagine if we have a captain who now all of a sudden is due for a big contract, and that's negotiation stuff? So to me, I think that's like the business side of Cohen, just being, we're never going to lock in long-term to one player because then they have us in negotiation. So I'm all in for the every year earn it mentality and just let the locker room decide who should step up and be the voice.
It's a good point, but I think in the case of Lindor, he doesn't have to worry about it because he signed basically for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're handing the captainship to somebody who's going to be a free agent in 3 or 4 years. It sounds as if Steve Cohen recognized we can't have one captain.
Right.
There's 26 guys on a roster, and as popular as someone is, there's going to be guys in that room who don't agree with it. And I want to take you back to 1986. I cite it a lot, but I think this is a perfect example. When Keith Hernandez was named captain, Gary Carter was pissed. And so what ended up happening?
Right.
They named him co-captain. And so
Well, it was deserved, though.
I'm not saying it wasn't deserved, but you almost create an issue and a divide when you name someone a captain if everyone isn't fully on board with them being a captain. Why is this such an
issue in baseball when in football it's kind of expected that they're going to be a series of captains?
Is it an issue? You tell me. Has there ever been problems in the room?
It ever being an issue. I remember it felt like it was something that was earned and obvious. Right? This guy, Michael Strahan, was obviously the captain. He was a Pro Bowler, All-Pro, ultimately a Hall of Famer. Of course, he's the captain. When I got good, I was. Eli is the quarterback. He was. Like it feels like it's obvious.
Yeah.
So why in baseball is it such an issue? Isn't it obvious? Or shouldn't it be?
Apparently not.
I mean, clearly.
Not when you have a room.
It's bizarre to me to think about the issues that captaincy causes in baseball.
Well, maybe the reason
a bunch of bitches over there.
Maybe it's because of the fact that there aren't normally captains. So because it's normalized in hockey and football, it's like, oh yeah, that's what happens. Most teams don't have captains.
Not even in Little League?
No.
I always found it weird. Like even when Jeter was named captain, I'm like, this seems stupid.
But
it's a baseball thing.
But it's at least a part of your franchise's history.
Yeah. Yeah, the Yankees, you mean.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You bitch.
Real quickly, Evan, there's one more Cohen clip that has just come across my table.
Sure.
All right. It is about whether Steve Cohen was annoyed at Kyle Tucker not picking them and how Bo Bichette happened. I think it's worth it.
You guys pretty quickly pivoted afterwards to Bo. What was that process like, those 12, 16 hours?
Well, the way I describe it is when the news came down in Kyle, literally the body was still warm and we were getting calls from agents. Okay, literally 5 minutes later, I was like, the body's still warm. Okay, so I actually went to bed annoyed, right? Like it's like, we didn't get him. It was like, and then, the agent for Bo had called us, right after, and discussion started. You never know how they're going to go, and they move really quickly.
Yeah, he also said in the interview with Howie Rose, he now thinks that Bo Bichette is a better fit for the Mets than Kyle Tucker.
That's interesting that it wasn't initiated by the Mets, that Bo Bichette's agent called.
But he also said that they were talking to Bo as far back as November.
Right.
So it wasn't out of nowhere.
So it almost feels like Bo Bichette was waiting.
I think Bo Bichette was waiting to say, wait a second, you just offered Kyle Tucker $60 million a year?
Yeah, right.
You know what my client wants?
$1.
So
not that much.
Not that much.
But whatever you're willing to give me, let's go.
Pedro is calling from Sayreville. Good morning, Pedro.
Hey, Pedro.
Hey, good morning. What's going on, guys? Hey, Tiki, real quick. Last time I spoke to you, I told you that your former teammate is my buddy, Corey Blackwell.
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just got a couple things. I want to piggyback off the gentleman who talked about the team not making the playoffs in the NBA being the number one seed. And I think Evan said that there's a flaw, which there is a flaw, but what if there was a monetary figure attached to that? Meaning the teams that make the playoffs also get money somehow. I don't know the money because I don't know the NBA money like that. But if money's involved, it would make teams go, all right, well, owners, especially owners, saying, well, if it's a substantial amount of money, then we want to play for that as well.
Yeah.
And the second thing, I'm sorry,
no, go ahead.
Because I know you guys are getting cut. As far as the captains, that's two things for me. I think A is a Lindor and a Soto kind of problem, and B, if Lindor signed to, I think Evans also point saying like he doesn't want to get attached to somebody long term. And you're saying that Lindor's signed pretty much for the rest of his career.
Yep.
But if for some...
Oh, man.
I think we lost you, Pedro, unfortunately. I apologize.
I think you had a good point.
No, I agree. To jump back to the NBA point, there are two issues with tanking, and I don't think the commissioners care about point two. Point two is us as fans.
Yeah.
Point two is it's not good that Chris McMonagle, who's a really good Giant fan, is sitting there over the last 4 weeks of the season saying
lose.
I want to lose.
Right.
And I get where he's coming from.
Yeah,
it's not good that I may end up doing that with the Jets this season.
Right. The fact that I had to rip Sean a new one when he wanted to tank and trade Saquon Barkley 43 years ago.
It's not good. It's not good.
We're not relitigating history.
So I think that they don't
like being mad at you, Sean.
I know.
They don't realize that that's a part of the issue, too.
Yes.
It's fans. So, yes, if you incentivize being the first team to miss the playoffs with money and the first pick in the draft, it'll help the players have a motivation. But then you run into the problem of, is there motivation to get the money and not make the postseason?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think a part of the tanking issue is, and I know this, I'm one of only a few people who roots for the Brooklyn Nets. I understand that.
Nobody roots for the Nets. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, I'm well aware. I go and I watch these games, and I know they're better off losing. And that sucks. You don't want that as a fan. You don't want to sit there rooting against your team. So it's not just the integrity of the sport that Adam Silver addressed. It's also, what about us as fans? And that's why going a route that has nothing to do with your record in season is the way to go.
Right.
Because if there was no draft attachment to my basketball season, why wouldn't I root for my team every game?
Exactly. You would. You'd want them to win no matter what.
Why would I want to sit Michael Porter on random nights?
Which is what sports is supposed to be.
Exactly.
Even when you're bad.
But the problem is these commissioners, they only look at it from one of the issues, which is the integrity of the game issue, which is a big one.
Yeah.
They ignore the fan issue. They don't care about that.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
It's interesting because, I follow soccer and I'm a Liverpool fan. And so in English soccer, like you wouldn't even think about sucking because if you suck enough, you get relegated.
Right.
Right. You go down a division. And so every game is, we got to win no matter what. We got to win no matter what.
So even in a bad year, there's motivation.
You got to win no matter what. And the championship is different because it's just whoever wins the season wins the league. And then it's like you try to get into these other competitions that actually are for different championships. And so it's a compelling issue in soccer because you don't ever want to tank. I don't think I've ever seen a team want to lose in soccer.
No. I agree with you.
It doesn't make sense. You're incentivized only to win.
And now in these other sports, sucking benefits.
Even when you're at the bottom of the league.
Yep.
You have to win. Otherwise, you're going down a division.
Mike is calling from Clifton Park. What's up, Mike?
Hey guys, so a few Met points, please.
Go ahead.
So in terms of Cohen, I think I think this is fine, but he looks at the Mets like a stock, right? So the New York Mets brand, why should he invest more money into a stock that has already peaked? He's not going to invest more money, and I think he takes the same approach with players. If they're at free agency, if they have maxed out, and he thinks the returns will not be greater, he's not going to invest in it, which is fine, because this is what the Yankee fans are complaining about, that running it back. And CMAC, who always says they're not running it back, if the Yankees do not advance past where they were last year, you guys better send him the elsewhere, because he keeps going on. They're not running it back. Oh, yes, they are. And by the way,
welcome to hell.
That blows.
Yeah, but wait a second. He's wrong no matter what happens. They are running it back. And that doesn't mean that they're wrong to run it back. That's a completely different argument. But they clearly are running it back. The GM referred to it over the weekend. He's like, yes, I guess we're running it back. Mm-hmm. Their roster is almost exactly the same as it was at the conclusion of last season.
Oh, that saved 2 players.
Right. So whether they're...
And those are both the relievers that are now on the Mets.
Right. Who they couldn't wait to get rid of. And yes, they've got guys who were injured for parts of last year who are coming back. But there's no debate that they're running it back. And I don't think Big Mac, to his defense, has said, quote, they're not running it back.
Suck it!
I think he's probably more defended the idea of running it back, which I understand. They won 94 games last year. If they run it back and are better just because of internal growth, and instead of winning 94 games, they win 97 games, I think most Yankee fans would be okay with that. I asked you last week, is 94 enough? And Sean was a little bit on the fence. Is 97 enough? And the answer is yeah. Yeah, I think you'd be happy with 97 wins.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fine.
What do you mean, yeah, okay?
It's not about win total to me. It's about what happens in October.
I know, but you can't control October until we get there.
Okay, but
but I think what Sean is saying is that we're assuming they're getting there.
97, you're there, yes.
Okay, I'm not looking at 94 to 97. Now, you get the home field. I get all that.
Right.
But again, it when running it back, what do they do in October? That's why I never cared that the opening day roster is different than the opening. What I saw in October matters. And that's all I care about, unfortunately.
And that roster didn't feel good enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
and
the
so
problem.
What's going to make it better now, especially if Toronto got a little bit better?
I'm not going to wave pom-poms at 3 more regular season wins. Sorry.